Hello, hello, hello. I am excited to my dear sister Goodwin, and here she is, right on Divine Time. Hello.
Hello.
Ah.
Oh, that's what I was just doing.
I'm so happy that we're doing this.
Me too. Me too.
So
Happy to be here.
Goodwin and I felt we're feeling into the title for this live in the energy. Whoa, going up, going down. What are we doing here? There we go. The energy that we wanted to bring and what we wanted to speak into. And we landed on embodied wisdom in biz.
Mm.
And I think that that in and of itself could be a whole ass program, of course. And so we're going to be able to drop into some gold nuggets with you all. And yeah, we're really excited to be able to speak into our own personal experience of what this looks like, what this means, how it showed up for us in our leadership, in our business. And I would love to, yeah, just introduce each other to each other's communities and audiences, so y'all can get to know a little bit more about us. So, do you want to start off and just share anything about yourself and what you do, and we
Yeah.
can take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. I am in the world of embodiment and really reclaiming full expression. I feel like that's when it boils down to just like getting women back to their bodies and back into what they want to do in the world, whether it's business and really fine-tuning like creativity, how we express creativity through the body. And lately, I have been combining, I guess not even lately, but my work has evolved from embodiment and now bringing into like earth wisdom and our cyclical nature as women and how we walk in the world of business, relationships, family, in honoring of our body's rhythms and pace, and how we do that with ease and permission is, I guess, what I want to say. And yeah, yeah. There's a little bit about, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like lately too, I have been so interested in bringing fully the realms of sensuality into my work. I feel like I've been doing that behind the scenes with one-on-one clients for years. I've been like a closet like sensuality whore basically, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, all of my one-on-one clients get that part of me. And so yeah, that is also in my world. Yeah.
I'm happy you shared that because I've gotten to witness that part of you show up publicly and more online. And when
Yeah.
we met each other, on the virtual realms and the internet streets, like that was something that like sensuality and sexuality and pleasure was something that I was very like open about visibly and publicly, and
Yeah.
interweaving pleasure with business and with money and leadership and all of these things. And so I feel like I've had this like very special, just like heart bursting excitement and love getting to see you like owning more of that in your work.
Totally. I remember, I mean, I think it was over a year ago now, maybe, of when we first met and we were in a mastermind together. And I was like, oh my God, like this woman is living it. Like yeah, your embodiment of pleasure and full expression of what I just named is so palpable. And it's been really empowering to like witness you and just be like, oh yeah, like that can come out of me as well. And what does that even look like? And yeah, when we first met each other in person too, like running up and just like I think your even boob flew out at one point, and I had something going on, and it was just like ah.
Completely engulfing each other in each other's arms. Oh
Yeah.
my god. That's one of the things I love so much about this work too is like, yeah, I have like, in-person offerings and we get to do like VIP days and retreats and all of these experiences, but a lot of it is online. So when we get to see each other and feel each other and be in that energy in person, it's just through the roof. And we're going to talk about that later. But
Yeah.
I wanted to just name this really important piece that you're bringing into the beginning of this conversation around earth wisdom, because I've also seen, not only in my own work, but in like in sisters like us that are just connected to our body in these really intimate ways, and who are deepening in our relationship with Mother Earth, this necessity for this conversation to be happening in the business world. And I went through such a big expansion, specifically with regenerative wealth and regenerative somatics being a deeper anchor point in my business. And so I love that you brought in, you know, earth wisdom and how we're going to be able to weave that into the conversation later. For me, it really comes through in this sense of like the connection to our own bodies, the connection to Mother Earth is what allows for this work to be, in my perspective and the way that I teach it, beyond sustainable but regenerative. Because yes, we want sustainable, we want to be able to do it for the long haul, but we also want it to be giving us life, giving us energy, giving us healing, giving us freedom, giving us power, and allowing for that to ripple out into the world. And so much of the what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm sure you can speak to this from your own experience, and I'll speak to it from mine, with people who are really successful in business, who, you know, on the outside you would have no idea what's going on. You know, they're hitting high cash months, they're serving hundreds or thousands of people, are actually internally so stressed and exhausted and drained because the business model is disconnected from earth wisdom and disconnected from our own intuitive wisdom. And I know that for me, like, I've gone through so much intense burnout in my past, that has been a huge valuable lesson to what I don't want to be perpetuating, and I don't want to be like silent on in the industry, of, you know, making the kinds of choices in our lives and in our business and how we're relating to our leadership that just continue to repeat the cycles of burnout. So there was just already so much that I got excited to in the intro, but I want to give myself a little bit of a context for the people that I don't.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, woman, who are you? Let the people know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for those of you that I don't know and who are new to me, Jasmine Hayden, the Wealth Witch, and I have been really devoted to being a voice and a coach and a leader in the realms of embodied leadership, but specifically in changing our relationship to wealth and to money through a nervous system lens, and allowing for our pleasure, allowing for us reclaiming our feminine power in our bodies and in our lives to then fuel the way that we're receiving and stewarding and circulating money and wealth that is beyond money, which is one of the things that we're going to be talking about. Just like wisdom in and of itself is a form of wealth, right? And so all different forms of resourcing. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And my work with my clients is really focused on liberating the nervous system from, you know, past patterns and beliefs and stories that have made high cash flow or big money or wilder wealth feel like it's that it's sacrificing the freedom that you actually work so hard to be able to create for yourself. And so it gets to feel really juicy and luxurious and spacious. But it's a road to get there. And I think that what we are going to talk about today is I intend that it will not only lend insight into like pathways and creating like channels for this to open up in your life for if you're listening to this, but also to be able to receive from like the lessons that I know I've gone through, and that whatever you might want to share, that have led to us being where we are now in our business and in our lives. So yeah, dive on in with y'all.
Delicious. Yeah, yeah. I love how you speak about your work. I really, specifically, how we view wealth and money and in the nervous system, and also tying it into what you said in the beginning of this regenerative piece around how we can make our businesses and in relationship to our creativity, yeah, thrive where we're not in constant states of burnout. And I feel like in the beginning of my business, I was in this burnout wheel over and over and over again. And like that's when the earth magic really started to break through that pattern, because I was like, holy shit, I can't do it like everyone else, or I can't do it like the model that we've been taught. And what would that even look like? And looking to earth to be like, oh my gosh, this example of what a regenerative success and abundance can look like. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So loving. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Love your work.
Thank you, love. And I love your work. I love how you show up. One of the things that I was teasing when I was talking about this to my communities, I love that there's a certain kind of rawness and realness that you show
Mm-hmm.
up in. I think that's a huge part of embodied leadership,
Mm-hmm.
is being able to be honest with ourselves and being able to be honest with our communities about what it is that we've needed to face and to, you know, break through, to alchemize through, to shift out of, to transform, that is different from what we knew, which is so much of what, you know, nervous system work is about. And so
Yeah.
speaking specifically to that, like to the survival pieces that show up um, around burnout, is I want to hear if you have any specific story or example that you might want to share about, like when
Mm-hmm.
maybe your first aha or your first big expansion of receiving the earth wisdom of this is where you're being guided, or this is where you're being led, and maybe what came from that. Because I think for so many of us, you know, we can go through long stretches of sustaining ourselves in a certain way, and then a pattern will repeat. And because we're human, you know, that can bring up shame and disappointment and frustration and rage, and there's grief, and there's all of these emotions that are part of our full spectrum humanness. And I see this, you know, with my clients who are even like, they get to 40K months, they get to 90K months, they've had 100K consistent months, but it's like the same patterns are repeating. So this is why I say it's like, it doesn't matter what number is happening. If your internal relations now, part two, part two
Hey.
of our live. I don't know what went on there.
I don't know either. I was like, oh my god, did your phone die? What happened?
I know. I was like, I wasn't sure if it was my end or your end, but basically, it was getting into, you know, we repeat cycles until we feel safe and free enough to release those cycles, and it follows us through any income level, through any cash level, through any level of perceived external success. And the cycles we have to learn from, just like Mother Earth goes through her cycles, and there's different seasons. And so, yeah, I want to, you know, pass the mic to you and invite in anything that you might want to speak into around your experience of really tapping into and dropping into earth wisdom, and how it opened up wisdom within your body and your being, and maybe how that ended up unfolding and expanding your business.
Mm, what a question. Yeah. There's so many angles I could speak to this. One from like, I think I'll speak to it from a body perspective first before I like get into how it translated into business. My history and how I got into embodiment work was from a state of pretty severe chronic pain. I had gotten into a rock climbing accident, had a traumatic brain injury, and then like a couple months later ended up stumbling upon a breathwork video. And she was having us repeat like I am safe in my body. And I had this whole moment, or it was just like the beginning at the end of the practice saying, you know, I'm safe in my body, and I lost it. I like completely broke down in tears and was just having this huge moment of like, I do not feel safe in this body. Like I want to run from this body. And so that's how I got into embodiment, because I was hooked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to feel safe here. And so I started to get into breathwork, get into embodiment work of movement and dance and all these things. And from that place, I came from only relating to my body as a bit of like an athlete perspective, like only pushing, driving, hustle. And that rock climbing accident was such a uh, it was like the breakthrough of the pattern because I could no longer relate to my body with only push, hustle, and drive. I had to create a whole new, I didn't even know the concept of slowing down or like feeling safe or secure or pleasure also wasn't even in my world whatsoever of just and not even yeah like pleasure but so feel like I had to learn a whole new way of relating to the body and well like time jump hop a little bit of like storyline of how this is going to come together but so it was a period of like learning to slow down and learning to go from like only hustle push force and drive to like slowness and gentleness and having kindness to my body and then getting hooked on this whole embodiment thing starting a business from this place and I kind of got back into rhythms of force hustle push and drive because that's what I knew that was my pattern. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do this business now. I'm going to prove and show everybody that I can make all of this money and that I can live off of this and that I can move across the country and live in these amazing places. And I did that for a while. It got me to the move I wanted to make. It got me to an income level that felt good at that time, having clients and living off of the income from the business. And then at a certain point of still operating from that hustle, push, drive, force sort of thing in business, of doing launches in a very like I don't even know how to but like the energy is just like doing launches from that place a year after my traumatic brain injury. I basically had a whole other health catastrophe where I could not get out of bed. I was so I crashed and burned and ended up working with a functional practitioner to work with like particular health stuff at that time, but it really had me asking the question of like, how do I actually want to be running my business and how can I take care of my body with this full spectrum of honoring the times where I do want to go for it because that is so in my nature as like a triple Leo, just being like, let's fucking go and like and do the things and honoring that, but also having this whole range of slowness, of gentleness in the body, and not even slowness, but having a full spectrum and how I can integrate that. And then I really started to look to earth to be like, oh my gosh, I started to learn more about my cycle and how the menstrual cycle reflects the seasons of the earth and started to play with like, oh my gosh, what if I did launches that aligned with where I'm at in my cycle? And that for me was like 3 years ago after the health scare situation. And I've been growing my business from that place ever since. And it, it's a game changer for me. And I could speak more about that, I guess. But yeah.
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 Yeah. I think one of the things that is really beautiful in what you're bringing to the space is like the body will force you to listen when you don't listen to the body.
Dude. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think we all have our different experiences of like how far we've in the past or even in our present, like how far we are willing to push past our limits, and then where is the point where it's like, is this serving me or is this actually harmful for me? And I think that's that like embodied wisdom perspective that comes in, hopefully, in being present with us here in this, and you can let us know in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, let us know in the replay that like hopefully in hearing and receiving wisdom around what it feels like and what it results in when there's a certain kind of relationship with your business or with your body where you're seeing and noticing already that it's not sustainable the way that you're currently operating in your life, that's where the radical reclamation and the taking back of your power and the permission to slow down and to create ease and to look at things differently, because it's really just one shift that opens up so much. But what we're taught, and what I know I personally have experience with as well, is like we keep going in what we know and what we think works and what we think is going to lead us to where our goal is. And what actually ends up happening is our body's like, no, bitch, like we're not gonna do this anymore. So like, and that's why I love, you know, a huge concept of regenerative somatics is it's rooted in like my wild overflow method. And the way that wild overflow works is like, you can't force yourself to overflow. Like you just can't. You can like push yourself and you can like lean into resistance, but there's a difference between what I think we're taught to do, and this is why, you know, there's so much culture around, you know, caffeine and around overproductivity and around our worth attached to how much we're doing, and that's like a whole ass other conversation. But I think both of us, like, we know what it's like in our bodies to live in that way. And it's been such a journey, like a healing journey, a transformative journey, to get to know our bodies and to get to know our nervous system in an entirely revolutionary way. That's like, oh, what happens when I listen to your actual needs right now? And what if in me honoring what's being asked of me, that's actually creating space for what I'm calling in and what I'm desiring? But it's just, for most people, it's so scary that it feels easier to turn to the way that we know. And that's why I think it's brave of you. And it's such an important conversation here around, I'm choosing to change my relationship, right, to the way that I'm experiencing myself and the way that I'm showing up in my leadership, because I gained this wisdom because I've done the thing. I know that the thing that I did before. I know that that's not actually what I want. So why would I keep doing the thing that I don't want to do when I know it doesn't feel good and I know it doesn't serve me? And that, I mean, one answer to that is because we're fucking human and we all are growing and we all have our patterns and we're all working on ourselves. But it's also like, oh wow, I can take a huge responsibility and let that responsibility actually be liberating for the way that I'm allowing myself to receive from Mother Earth, from Spirit, from God, from money, and the way that I'm, you know, responding to my life, responding to my body, responding to my life force energy. So yeah, I'm just really happy that you brought in like the realness of, you know, the pain and like the intensity of having these experiences that you did that, you know, ultimately resulted in you being able to like really reclaim your power in your body to feel more safe in slowness and more safe in ease. And one of my programs, Embodied Alchemy, we talk actually about, I love that you brought in the menstrual cycle, because the whole thing is through the moon cycle. And so we go like are connecting to our bleed, and it's really like feminine power, juicy magic. I think that's also so important too, is noticing our own, like what season we're in, not only with the lunar cycle, with the moon, and in the month, you know, or in the 28-day cycle, but then connecting it to our larger seasons of life, you know, the larger of like, okay, this is calling me into a spring, this is calling me into a fall, this is calling me into a summer. And regenerative business, regenerative somatics is also really rooted in like, it's not go all the time, and it's through the restoration periods and the reflection periods and like the being inward that gives us the replenishment that we need to actually thrive in the summer. Because there are people who, you know, like there's a certain kind of way of showing up where they can be going on all the time, but it's not sustainable for us in our long-term life cycle. And so like one of my mentors she says, you know, like sometimes I'm going 200 miles an hour, sometimes I'm going 2 miles an hour. From the outside, it looks like she's always going 200 miles an hour. For sure. I love this woman. And I think that might be a perception that people have of each other, or of, you know, other successful or other, you know, thriving businesses or leaders. It's like, they're going all the time. And embodied wisdom for me, and like earth's wisdom and connecting with our own natural rhythms and cycles is recognizing like to create systems, and I'm not going to get like super deep into business stuff, but like just to create systems and structures so that the energy is still flowing without you needing to be on all the time. And yeah, so I just started a little riff off of that, but I'll bring us in and I'll let you also, you have some things that I know you wanted to bring to the space and ask me so we can see what wants to come through.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I was like, oh my gosh, just hearing you talk, I'm like, what are times and how have they felt when you are in a little bit more of that like hold on, am I saying that right? I'm like, yeah, yeah. And more of the either it's winter or fall of just, yeah, we're getting back to yeah, there's like there's a death or there's a where nothing's making sense in business. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
but
I know
yeah.
exactly what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it was a year ago from this last fall. So fall 2023 was like massive decomposition period of my whole life. I did an episode on this on my podcast. What's it called? I forget. Oh, I think I speak into it where it's like my dirty little secret. I think that's the name of that episode. Oh my God, that was my most raw episode ever. But I go into this because it feels like it's something that was one of the most challenging things I've ever gone through in my whole life, and gave me more wisdom than I would have ever known was inside of it. But it took me going through it and then being on the other side of it to actually see and value the wisdom of it, because I knew intuitively and in my spirit that like I needed to go through a clearing process with my business and with the way that I was like, there was certain things that I feel like I had outgrown, certain ways of like my marketing and like my just like my brand was wanting to go through like a rebirthing process, but I didn't know what it wanted to be rebirthed as. And I knew also that like it was one of those times where I felt like so much was falling apart. Like everything felt like it was crumbling in these different areas of my life. And for me, I have, I think, one Scorpio in my chart, but I very much go through like life death cycles all the time, just like on a personal level. Like I go through life death cycles all the time. And my clients know this. Like if my clients have been with me for like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they've seen me go through at least 20 fucking lives, because I'm dying all the time and being reborn. I'm like, who am I today? Because that bitch died last week. Like, and so this was one of the times I was experiencing my business going through such a massive death that I was resistant. Like my ego wanted to hold on. I was like, no, I'll just keep, you know, being in it, and the shift or the change is going to happen, but I don't know how and I don't know when. And it was actually, I was so grateful for mentorship, because I had 2 intimate mentors, and this is why I fucking value private mentorship and like intimate close proximity mentorship so much. I had mentors that were both reflecting this back to me in different ways, that were like, Jasmine, like your business right now is initiating you into something that's going to be so much more powerful than you can even see right now, and you need to surrender to the death. And I was like, I don't want to. And I was like really struggling with it, but I did, you know, like I was struggling with it and I did. And so I allowed myself to surrender to the death process that was happening. I decided to go on a sabbatical from my business. And during that sabbatical, I was able to see things so much more clearly than I had been seeing them ever before, and started to see how regenerative somatics, that's where that came from. Like I'd been teaching that work, but I had not been calling it that, and I hadn't had it framed in that particular way. Like I had Embodied, which is, you know, Embodied alchemy is one of my programs. I had somatic liberation work. I had like nervous system, trauma healing, all these things, but it wasn't anchored into this new, you know, approach, this new methodology, until I came out of that period, because the death and the winter was me needing to slow down enough to realize that that was the evolution that was wanting to actually happen.
Oh,
And I had been
yeah.
not allowing for the evolution because I was just like in it, And so, yeah, it was a hard time because I had to sit with also the grief and to process it, and the rage, and I had to look at the things that really were working and looked at the things that really weren't working in the way that I wanted to be working. To let go of a lot of things. And I think that's one of the things that happens so much with death cycles in business, is especially when I'm supporting my clients that are like, they're wanting to increase their cash flow, but they're not, maybe they're like, there's programs that are just not serving their clients anymore in the way that they want to be serving their clients, or like they're having amazing client results, or they're having like so much external like success and validation, but they don't feel like their heart is lit on fire, and they've lost like their passion for what it is. Or they're like super passionate and super excited, and they're like so turned on, but it's like what they really want to be doing is this whole other ass thing that you're giving yourself permission to. And so, but because they know how well it's been working in this other way, it's like really scary to go into this other territory, right? And so these are just different examples. And so with me and myself during that process, that death, like so much, my whole quality of work massively amplified. Everything upgraded. My messaging, the people I was calling in, like who I felt called to work with, the quality of my offerings, the quality of like the standards I was holding for myself, and how I was connecting to my business. And that would not have happened if not for the death. That would not have happened because we need that space. And so, yeah, there's just so much gold in death and winter, and in like slowing down enough to, one of my other coaches, my nervous system business coach, she's fucking phenomenal. She says, slow down to speed up. The way that I feel that is in quantum growth. Like I teach model, like it's quantum growth isn't like, it's not running to the finish line. It's going at your own rhythm, going at your own pace, but clearing the shit that you think is what you need to be doing, so that when you get to the finish line, you actually feel fucking good, right? Like you hop a timeline, like someone like picks you up and puts you at the finish line, but you've done all of the work to be able to hop and get there without feeling like you busted as much ass, but you're still, of course, putting forth effort, and it's still requiring, momentum, because like quantum growth is in momentum. And so that's another huge part of I think winter and death cycles, is like you can slow down, but it's like it's still like you're fueling the fire, right? You're like feeding the fire and not letting the fire become so big that it burns you, but you're tending to it and nurturing it so that it's still creating warmth, it's still creating heat, it's still creating the energy that things need to move to take action, and to allow for the action to then actualize your desires that we're working for, that we're taking a stand for. So yeah, so much there.
Yum. I'm like, when you actually give yourself the permission and lean into the winter, lean into the death, like, and then it becomes less fucking scary, and you're like, oh, here's this motherfucker again. and not only, maybe it doesn't have that much of a negative connotation to it, like I just said, but there still is the fear, but it can be a little bit exciting. And hearing you speak, honestly, and I've been recognizing it a little bit, but I'm like, wow, vulnerable shares, I am totally in that period right now of like, absolutely in a winter death of what needs to go. Maybe not fully in the middle of it, but yeah, been dancing in a winter fall in my business, which feels like it's been a long time coming, which is which actually feels really good, to be leaning into that.
Yeah, I feel you in this. And I think it's so normal, like as I was talking about when I was so resistant to it, I think it's so normal for us as humans to resist our winters because we think that it means something that it doesn't. And like we think that I think like our normal human monkey brain is like it goes to the worst case scenarios, or it can like find evidence of all the things that's not working. And that's why, you know, changing our belief system and doing the somatic work to change the way that we're perceiving ourselves and perceiving life and perceiving our business is so fucking important. Because then we can also see, like, even while we're in it and even while we're having our human experience of things like winter, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this has been a long time coming. I know this is serving me. I know that there's wisdom in this. I know that there is healing in this. And for me, it's like the kind of energy that I get from restoring myself through the winters is what actually fuels the most fruitful springs of my life. Like the most fruitful springs. And then the summers are just like, it's a fucking party. It's a party. I gave myself that winter because now I'm partying in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell this to my clients who are like, I go through these seasons sometimes in a fucking day. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, work with my human. I'm like, all right, I love you, bitch. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take a nap in the middle of the day. I'm like, that's just what needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, letting the season that we're in. I think the more that we embrace it, the more that we accept it, the more that we have to receive from it. And when we actually receive from the season we're in exactly what that season is intended for, then we can apply that wisdom into the next season. And that's the whole thing about thriving business is like it's growth and evolution and expansion and deepening over our entire lives, like our entire lives in this body, in this form. And so it's like if we have that level of long-term thinking and long-term understanding with the earth and with our bodies, I think there's a depth of honoring that also gets to happen too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And trust. Of just like trust the winter doesn't last forever. It doesn't. The snow melts, the ice breaks, and the blooms will come up, and but it is scary. I actually this winter was entering into some big changes and things this winter, and I had a moment. I was at this phenomenal hot springs that was just like, oh, and I was actually on a little bit of a little microdose, so I was just like fully just like, oh my God, in the zone, in the vibe, like feeling so connected. And I was in warm water, but there was snow on the mountains around me, and my body had this feeling that I kept saying to myself, I was like, am I gonna die? I was like, am I? It was, and I wasn't like fully in like a, but my, I was just like, I'm scared. Like winter is scary, like on a primal level. If we are out in the motherfucking cold and we are not prepared, like we will die. And so like I'm looking at these snowy mountains and be like, oh thank God I'm in this warm pool, but like oh my gosh. And so it's for me, I'm just speaking to like and anyone else feeling into like if they're in this winter period and they're scared, like it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have that feeling, and now we get to lean into it like, okay, now we do have, you can take the time to build the rest, and there is warmth, and we do have warm homes now to live in and all these things, but like the winter will pass and you will be okay, and it's and you will, yeah, you will, there will be the spring. But for me it was just acknowledging the like, oh my gosh, I'm allowed to be scared on a primal level. This is scary, and I'm okay. I trust that I'm okay, and there is something on the other side. Yeah, but yeah, winters can be intense. They can be so intense. But like everything we're sharing here, the spring to the summer, when we do go there, when we give, and like you're saying, oh my gosh, we experience different seasons throughout every single day. Like it's not just like, I think I first used to teach this as like a very cookie cutter, like following your cycle, and like you're in, fall in your luteal phase and blah 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 blah. That is amazing, absolutely. And I still run my world in that kind of cyclical nature, and like in every moment there is every moment there is wisdom of like, what is our body need, like what is our body ultimately needing, what does she want, where is she at? And I feel like one thing I teach in my work all the time is I'm saying constantly, like, meet the body where we're at. Like, meet the body where we're actually at in the moment. Like, if she's scared, let yourself experience the scared, process the scared. If, like, whatever's here, experiencing that. And to me, that's where, like, the true wisdom, like, unfolds, where we can be in our body's experience, like, in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, there's so much power in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that's showing up for me in this share of yours, in this reflection, is, so I have my upcoming masterclass this week, and it's Watch Me Rise. And one of the things that I've been like, we know every offer, every program is initiating us, you know, and we're expanding through a new level of our leadership. And one of the things for Watch Me Rise is like rise with and beyond our fears. And things that I continue to learn over and over and over again is that the more of a capacity in our body, in our nervous system, in our soma, we have to be with the fears, to rise with the fears, is what actually expands our capacity to hold the things that we didn't believe were possible for ourselves, whether that is, you know, the wilder wealth, the juicier relationships, or the freedom or the luxuries to be able to spend, you know, time in nature. Like I went off grid for 2 weeks this October in the indigenous jungle with the Shipipo tribe, and you know, that time there for me, that's one form of luxury. Like being able to go off grid for 2 weeks and be in nature and be sitting with plant medicine and be learning from Mother Earth, be learning from the plants, be learning from indigenous people, and being able to really integrate those teachings into my life and into the way that I lead. Like that in and of itself is a luxury. And we all have different forms of what luxury looks like, but for me it's like quality of time, it's quality of space, it's being able to rest, it's being able to connect with people in a real way, it's getting closer with my family, it's getting closer with myself, it's getting closer with my friends, it's being able to have the space in my life to cultivate that depth and that truth and that heart. And the only way I have created that for myself, and that I get to continue to grow in that, is every fucking time I was afraid of what the next level looked like, is being with and holding the fear at the same time, and rising with the fear. And I think you just speak to it so beautifully too, around like, yeah, it's okay to feel the fear, and it would be weird if you didn't. Like, that's what I think. I'm like, it would be weird if we didn't feel fear when we have so much greatness and so much bigness that is in our heart and in our mission and in our vision. And, you know, some of the people that you know, I'm connected with and like that I'm friends with, or that are coaches or mentors or healers, it's like we have these kinds of conversations like me and you are having right now, that it's like when you're continuing to grow and expand, the fear doesn't feel any less scary. Like it feels just as scary, whether you are like expanding into like your first 100K, you know, year, quarter, month, day, whether you're expanding into serving your first like 20-person retreat, or your first like 50-person program, or your first like 30-person mastermind, or like a whole new project that you've never done before. It doesn't fucking matter what it is. The fear is going to feel just as scary. And so it's like, once we come to a certain level of acceptance and understanding, which comes from the wisdom of doing so much scary shit over and over and over again, that we're like, oh, here we are again, fear. It's, you're coming with me. Like, we're rising through this. The fear is rising with me. So I just wanted to speak into that, because I think it's so important that we have this level of yes, attunement with our body, and respect for ourselves, and value for the parts of us that feel tender as we're going through our different seasons, and that, you know, need to have different needs met, And knowing that the fear doesn't go away, we just get better at navigating with it. And that's a huge
Absolutely.
part of what I believe we're both here for, is supporting people, supporting our clients, supporting our communities to be able to hold themselves as they meet fear and reclaim power at the same
Mm,
time. And what that leads to is having the kind of embodied leadership that lets your business thrive in new levels of impact and service, really, that's coming from the heart.
yeah. Oh, oh, so fucking good. You're hitting me on a personal level of like fear shit because I just did something yesterday that I was like, oh my God, it never gets easier. I'm fucking terrified. And I'm like, all right, we're going to Mexico, which I'll talk about in a second. But I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, bring
yeah, but I was just like, okay. Um, but I was also in the conversation of fear. Literally just got off of, I'm leading a container right now, called 31 Days of Embodiment, and every day the container gets a 5 to 15 minute somatic practice. And one woman shared in the accountability group that every practice the sense or the emotion of fear comes up, and
Mm.
she's having like fear in her body. And I was like, can like would you be willing to share the what that feels sensationally? And we had this beautiful, like I was able to drop this really beautiful audio transmission of, she named her stomach was, in knots, a little bit of a tightness in throat, and there was tinglies. And I was like, what if we took the umbrella term of fear and removed it a little bit? And what if we just got to be with the sensation and express from there? It's a little bit less scary because, oh my gosh, I mean, fear and excitement, they're pretty fucking similar in how they show up in the body, of just like bubbly. She was like tinglies, a little bit of throat, a little bit of like gut being like, holy shit, am I doing this? And so like, what if we get to be with the sensation and go from there? Like, how liberating can that be? And when we bring that into decisions in our life from big to small, and we're just like, oh my gosh, fear is here, and let me like remove it from the like uh negative connotations that we have around fear maybe in our culture, and just be like, okay, how does this feel sensationally? I'm gonna go there first and just bring it along with me. So much can be possible.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm like, wow, we have to do it over and over and over to truly build uh that evidence of, okay, I'm gonna survive, it's fine. And there is, yeah, something else on the other side.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing that in. I love that share. I know we're wrapping up on time here, so I do want to see if there's things that feel most important to speak into or drop in here together. Um,
Yeah.
like a couple things that we like just little dabbled into,
Yeah.
and then we can also talk about invitations for people to
Hmm.
step into our work more into our world. So I'll leave it to you if there's something that's like feels like it's a burden.
Oh, 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 stay with us. Is it still here? I can hear me. Oh shoot, I can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, a burning desire or uh, yeah, like closing
Yeah,
piece that
yeah,
we
yeah,
want
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to share or speak into before we close off together.
Yeah, let me sit in that for a second. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've touched on so many beautiful pieces of earth wisdom and seasons in the body, expressing fear, trusting the winter, regenerative somatics, and how we can process with our body and allow that to be fruitful, and not just like we're in a like healing loop or cycle, but that it actually allows us to like create change and impact. I guess that I think I'll like wrap up with that of just like a juicy note. I love how you like just even the term regenerative somatics to me feels so good in my body for that reason, because I feel yeah, like so good. I feel with somatic work, breath work, healing, just work in general, like so on the rise and so in our world, which is fucking amazing. And there can be this loop to it that happens of feeling like, you know, we're constantly having to work on something or heal or be in this, like, I need to be doing better or getting better or constantly improving ourselves, and how yes, there is this always this growth cycle that we are in of just like a constant death and rebirth period. How can we create and be in relationship to our bodies that allows us to like break the cycles and break patterns in our life that we can create change in, whether that's business, relationships, habits, how we're moving throughout the world, and using embodiment work, using somatic work and pleasure, all these beautiful aspects to disrupt some of our patterns and ways of being, and create change. Is that, I'm like, am I, yeah, I'm like, I think that's, yeah. I'm like, I see, yeah, that's my closing note.
That was a beautiful closing note. I feel like you like really wrapped it all together in
Yeah,
a pretty package, and it's nice.
yeah. Yeah. Like, I think that's where I'm at. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so tell me how, I'm like, I want my people in your spaces. I want people attending your, is it Watch Me Rise?
Yes, Wash Me
Yeah.
is starting on Tuesday. We run Tuesday through Thursday, and it's a expansion portal for the nervous system, for your body to anchor into and expand into the wildest, wealthiest year of your life. Like that's the meat of it. But how we do that is, I spoke a little bit into it before, is rising with and beyond the fears, the limitations, the stories, and the meanings that we've created in our relationship with money. So it's really centered on healing and expanding relationship with money, relationship with wealth as your leadership grows, and creating a masterpiece of your life. And for me, I'm like, gosh, 2024 was just, it was simultaneously a hard year, and it was the most magical, insane, out of this world year of my entire existence. Like I still am blown away by it. And so that's why when I get really excited about what's possible for the future, I know that we can only begin to imagine. Like we can only begin to imagine. And it does come, like that came, there was decomposition in that. Like that there was death cycle, there was winter cycle, there was like hard grief and sadness and pain. And I'm one of the people, and I feel like you're one of the people too. It's like, it's not rainbows and butterflies. And that's why it's called Watch Me Rise. Cause it's like, yeah, I'm still gonna fucking rise. Like through it all, I will rise. And so you get to inside of Watch Me Rise, your year to rise. It's 125 and it goes up to 333 on Tuesday. You can just DM me Rise for the link. And I would love, yes, to get to hold you and love on you and support you through this portal, and also for people to get to know how they can step into your world and your work right now and deepen with you. So let us have it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm going to Watch Me Rise. Yeah, because you truly, I'm like, I so appreciate you from such a strong human level, because you are a living embodiment of your work. Like hearing you speak of just everything that Watch Me Rise is about, yeah, like watching you in your world of traveling, and how even I looked at your Instagram the other day and your content lately of just, and I'm like, yo, dude, how are you? I'm blown away by you. So yeah, yeah. What's going on in my world? So two juicy things that I'm like, part of this winter period has been, what do I fucking love about my business, and where can I create from there so I can just pour into the women that feel the pull of like desiring more liberation in their bodies. And that's what I created this container, 31 Days of Embodiment, where it's just like so much juice is coming up in that. I'm not announcing this to Instagram yet, but anyone who is watching this live or watches the recording, you can message me about it. I'm going to be doing, oh, and I'm so excited about it. I'm going to be doing an 8-week embodied liberation container. And oh, it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be like the foundations of being in relationship and in intimacy with your body, and then building trust, building intuition, and then we get to step into the like true creative expression of how we can live from this place of, and when I say expression, it's just like who you are to the core and how that can ripple out into your life, whether you are a business woman or you're a mama with babies and just desire to feel your full self, and from, and not a place of like overthinking or second guessing, but you feel the like pulse of, yeah, who you are and how you live in that space. So that is an 8-week juiciness. And then yesterday I decided that I'm going to Mexico. Woo! I'm going to Mexico, going to a beautiful event, Body Talk Live, with uh Shayna, and that is her incredible event. And both Jasmine and I were at Living Brave Live and got to see Shayna speak. It was I thought it was amazing. Love her work. And um yeah, I'm going to be hosting like a VIP immersion day the day after the event, which I'm super jazzed about, and just all things like body connection, full expression, all the juice, and of course earth wisdom and how we can be in relationship to our natural rhythm and create impact from there. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right after this live, I'm like, we're throwing a post up. I'm like, babes, we're going to Mexico. Who's coming? Like, let's go. So yeah, excited. Yeah. And if any of those, for people who are in Jasmine's spaces, you're curious about embodied liberation or a hot ass trip to Mexico, you can just send me expression and we'll go from there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And they got
Yeah.
cute because this was like on the DL. So if you're watching,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
lucky. Got
Yeah.
in.
I'm like, that's the little, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Shanna too, and I'm sad that it's not the right time because I'm here in Brazil and I love being here in Brazil.
Yeah.
Although will say I did fly all the way to Florida from India for Freedom Queen Live. So
Dude, I saw that.
I'm willing to go all the way across the planet for events.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about live events is that there's a certain palpable energy that we're able to activate and re-expand when we're calibrated to other leaders that are making big change and that are creating such a positive impact on the world. And I'm really excited for all of the live events that I'm going to. I talked about Living Brave Live, and so I have a really juicy VIP experience that is co-created for Living Brave Live this year. So also you can reach out to me about being a part of that crew. I have a Here We Grow crew it's going to be so fire. So I'm really excited for that. And VIP days all around the world. And yeah, in magic. Just 2025 feels like there's just so much in-person magic. I know for sure that I have 2 big events that are just going to be life-changing, so expansive. And if you're curious to learn more and be a part of this, and also get to have some personal coaching and masterminding after I get to go through personal masterminding and VIP with my clients and my coaches, then you can come on in and be a part of that experience as well. For those of you that are tuning in from Goodwin's World, yay!
Yes.
Us or either of us with these offerings and invitations that we have for you. Well, remind me the name. I forgot the name of your 30-day experience.
The 30-day experience, 31 Days of Embodiment, that's actually still open. It's only $111. That is like the juiciest, easiest yes and that I have in my space right now, that I'm like, yo, come on in. There's 16 practices or 17, whatever day today is. That's an amazing space. And then the 8-week, and then
Yeah. Yes. 31 days of embodiment. That was the one to remember.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you can reach out for that
Yep.
and check out Watch Me Rise as well. And
Yeah.
so grateful for you, and I'm happy that we got to drop in together and share this time and
Me
space.
too. Thank you for all your wisdom, all your juice. You're such a magic, powerful woman. Yeah.
Reflection, says the queen.
All right. I love you.
And talk to you later.
Bye.